Hi and welcome back to our channel. I'm Brandy and this is It's a Miracle Beauty. If you're new here, it'd be great if you would subscribe, and if you like this video, click like for the video. So this video is a challenge or a theme I've seen going around YouTube probably for 3 or 5 years, but I thought it was kind of neat. Majority of the people I see doing the challenge graduated in high school in the last 10 years or so. So I thought it'd be kind of interesting, as I graduated over 20 years ago in 1997, if I did the same challenge and see if any of the same makeup I used was still available, or see if, you know, there was something that I could make a cohesive video out of it. I was kind of in shock when I shopped that about 99% of the products were still available, and I used one brand. I only shopped CoverGirl. My aunt got me into CoverGirl when I was a little kid. The Noxzema smell and the love of her and makeup made me kind of migrate only to that brand. I went shopping yesterday and I was able to find pretty much everything at 2 Rite Aid stores that I used in high school. The only thing I couldn't find was the exact eyeshadow, and it is similar. It's like the same color, just a different name. And I wasn't able to find the concealer, so I am going to use a different concealer. I'm not sure yet which one. Probably one of the ones in my project pan, and then go from there. So without further ado, first thing I'm going to do is open each product, show you what I got, what I used, and kind of talk about how I use them, and then I'll put them on. So if we look here, I always used the Clean of CoverGirl. This is Classic Ivory. I used Creamy Natural, which is probably, I tanned and did things I shouldn't have back then because I was in high school, but I would say it still was probably a shade dark for me, but I like to darken up my skin with my foundation. So that was the first thing. And then the second thing I used, and very liberally, like I look at pictures, I'll post one, it's terrible, is the Clean Professional Loose Powder. Hopefully that's not glaring too much. Again, this is in translucent fair. I used light to medium range. I think again it was called Creamy Natural, and it was so dark, and I created like this orange film on my face. Again, I look back at pictures and I just wonder what I was thinking. And then on top of that, after I was all done with everything else, I would use the pressed powder. Again, this is Classic Ivory. I know I used a darker shade when I was in high school. Once I had my liquid foundation and my loose powder on, I would actually go in with very liberal amounts of blush. This is CoverGirl Sophisticated Sable. It actually is the exact same one. Not the exact same one because it's obviously brand new, but the exact same shades that I used in high school. And then for eyeshadow, I used, again, this is called Country Woods. I think it was a similar name when I was in high school, but it wasn't this exact, but I swear these are the same shades. Looks like this, and it's purely a neutrals palette. Has, I think, 1 shimmer? Nope, 2 shimmers and 2 mattes. Then I would use eyeliner, and again, I would use eyeliner across the thin of my upper line, not on my waterline, just the main line. And then I would do a very thick one on the bottom line. This one is an espresso. Next, I would line my lips with typically a darker shade, what today we call an ombre, but back then I don't think anybody even knew that word. And then I used, and again, it's the exact same shade name that I used in high school, and it's called It's Your Mauve. So I'm going to apply it as I did in high school, much to my embarrassment. And we'll go from there, and I'll post a picture of what I look like with all my makeup done now versus that. So without further ado, I'm just going to grab a concealer because I need to fill in. I grabbed from my Pan Challenge basket. This is the Naked Skin. This is in light. It is a little bit darker for my skin tone than I want it to be, but for this situation, I don't think it's a big deal. So let me just get a makeup opened really quick, and I'll be right back. One of the things I noticed immediately when I opened all of this is it has a true, like I discussed, Noxzema scent. It is like so strong that I'm so used to using unscented products now that it was really striking to me. I've always liked the scent. I don't know if I like it on my face anymore, but I did always like the scent. So I'm just setting up my mirror so that I can see what I'm doing on this side, because I don't have a viewfinder on this camera. I'm actually trying a different camera. I originally had a video camera that had a viewfinder that I could see everything, and then I did a video with my Nikon Coolpix, and I was kind of impressed with how it came out. The autofocusing is much better. The actual footage is much better, so I'm actually trying that. Problem is, at this moment, I don't have a monitor. I need to go get a monitor if I continue to use this camera. So I would just take, with my hands, my foundation and put it all over my face. Typically, I did the dotting method and then moved it around. Sometimes I would end up with so much on my face because I overcalculated how much I needed that it would look ridiculous. The picture I'm going to post is hilarious. So I'm just going to dot this on. And this even, in my mirror, looks a little dark for me. It might look fine once it's blended out, but I was at least 2 or 3 shades darker in high school, and that was kind of funny to me when I went shopping. As I remember all the names of the ones I bought because probably for 10 years I bought the exact same shades, the exact same eyeshadows, the exact same everything, because I only bought CoverGirl. So it was kind of funny to me when I went shopping, and so many of these products were available still. So now I'm just going to smooth it in. Again, I used my hands. Was pretty good about getting it in my hairline.
I don't think I ever did my eyebrows the entire time I was in high school. Actually, probably my entire 20s as well. I think the first time I ever had my eyebrows done was for my wedding. I had my makeup done, and she basically combed them out and just put gel in them. She didn't color them, she didn't line them, which I do have pretty thick eyebrows naturally. It was all pretty much just making my brows stay where she put them and make them look good. So that was the first time. I don't think I ever did my brows till probably my mid-30s. Again, my brows look good naturally. Here, my brows look good naturally, so I just thought you didn't need to do much with them. It wasn't until I think
Brush. I didn't use a makeup sponge, although my mom used makeup sponges my whole childhood. It was kind of funny when they came, the beauty blenders, and when they came out, I kind of giggled to myself because my mom was probably kind of a trendsetter in that regard, because she was using them when I was a little kid. They used to come in this big long pack, kind of like cotton rounds, and they were alternating triangles all the way down, and she used those every day with her makeup. So I think it's been around for a long time, but maybe there wasn't a brand name connected to it, or maybe there wasn't the general public wasn't being exposed to it. So next I'm going to do concealer. Typically I alternate it if my eyes look really bad, which I don't know how my eyes could have looked that bad in high school, but whatever. If my eyes look really bad in my, in my perception, I would put a layer of concealer under my foundation and then put another one on top of my foundation. I don't know how I thought that was going to be logical or work. I'm not really sure, but that was my system. So once I had this base on, immediately I went in with loose powder, and a lot of it. I think we could have bought stock in CoverGirl with the amount of loose powder we used in high school. And I can't say every person in my school did this, but a lot of us did. And I would literally just cake this out. It's going to end up all over me. I never wore clothes when I did my makeup because it would end up everywhere. And even then, it's still, because I use so much, it would end up on my collars. If I hug people, it would get on their shirts. Bear with me while I pack this on really quick, because again, I used a lot. I really think, holy cow, I really think I probably used more of this in high school, but I really can't stand it anymore. It feels like a pound on my face right now. So next thing, I didn't have many makeup brushes or anything. I did have a blush brush I think my mom had given me, and I had a powder brush, but I didn't really use them for how they were intended. So the powder brush you'd think I would use right now, get it all dusted off. I didn't. I'd wait till I was completely done with everything and then dust over my entire face. So I would dust my eyeshadow, dust my blush, dust my face. I think in my head I was removing any fallout from various products. Not that I knew that term then, but I do think that it didn't work. It wasn't something that, it put the browns of the eyeshadows on it and the blush, and then I spread it all around my face. So I ended up with transference that looked like shit. But at the time I didn't realize it. So using my CoverGirl brush that came with it, and again, this is the inside of it. And I would first take the darker or the lighter color, and I would do it kind of what we do with bronzer now, although I had no idea what that was. And how I worked with this little brush, I have no idea. This is so frustrating. This is crazy. I have always used a makeup brushes since probably 25 or so. So it feels kind of funny to... Now I want to just dust some of this off and blend this out a little bit. I would have never done this when I was younger, but it looks so stark. Then I would take the darker one and the lighter one, and I'd mix them, and then I just put them on my apples. Now you'd think I would have put the darker one in the cheekbones, or under the cheekbones like bronzer, but I didn't. And I blushed my entire face, especially with the lighter one. which this now is almost like a highlight shade. I think originally the lighter blush was, as you can see, it's already like the brush is digging into the product. But the middle one, if I remember correctly, when I was younger, had like a shimmer to it, and then the lighter one did it, the darker had none. This has 2 mattes and a shimmer, so I think it's actually kind of like meant to be a highlight shade. But I, again, had no idea what a highlighter was at that time, so there's no way that I did that for that means. So for my eyeshadow, I did it kind of similar to what I do now in the sense I use different tools in different makeup brands and everything else, but I'm still very much a neutrals girl. And I typically put one neutral down on my base, then a darker one on my, or a contrast. Not always darker, sometimes it's a warmer one, but I put something else on it to kind of change the look. But one thing I did do differently then is I put one color across my whole lid. And even then I viewed that like as my base shadow, but I didn't know anything about transition shades or anything like that. Which again, I'm not a makeup artist by any means. I just love makeup, but you know, watching videos and going to different training sessions at different stores and things like that, you learn how to do certain things. I did the first 2 shades for my, what we would call now a transition shade. Now I'm using this warmer shade in order to warm it up. And then I would take the white shade. I think when I was younger, the white was more of a shimmer, but I put it up on my brow bone because I didn't like my dark eyeshadow to touch my brow bone. And I would say that probably hasn't changed. I'm the same way now. I didn't, again, know anything about highlights or anything like that, but it definitely was something that I did. Well, my battery died, so I went ahead and finished my eyeshadow, or my eyeliner and my mascara. So all I have left is my lips. And that would be my lip look. So one thing I'll say about redoing this look after this many years is, one, this much powder ages me. I don't have a huge amount of wrinkles. I'm aging relatively well, I would think, and partially because I stopped sun tanning and sunbathing, but this immediately points to the lines in different areas. My eyes, even my eyelids, look wrinkly, and they don't normally, so that's kind of funny. The other thing I would say that isn't a positive is they still have good products, because I didn't know how to apply them properly or use them properly. It doesn't say anything about them. I was actually pleasantly surprised when my camera died. I got up and looked in the mirror, and my foundation, I don't know if it's picking up on camera, but it looks really smooth. And using my fingertips isn't my favorite application anymore. Not to say I don't do it sometimes with a BB or CC cream on my way to work, but I do prefer that, you know, flawless finish of the sponge, and it just melts everything into your skin. So for being applied pretty, you know, inaccurately, I think it did a good job. And I think that says something about the foundation. Even the powders, I think it says something about them when you can use it so haphazardly and it still looks okay. I think that, you know, the CoverGirl Professional Remarkable Mascara, I used pretty much exclusively for all of my teens, most of my 20s, if not all of them, until I discovered some of the other brands that are not high-end by any means, but I might have used a little bit of Wet n Wild, because I was a huge Wet n Wild fan after high school. But I think that overall, again, I think it's a ridiculous look. I'm going to try to post a picture that you guys can see that what it looked like. I have a picture when I was 17 getting ready, and somebody took a picture of me. And like, you can just see the film of powder on my face, and you can see that it literally goes over the entire face. And you know, that's one thing I did forget. When I got done, and I'm not going to use it like I did back then, because I just can't even stand any more powder on my face, but I would go into my pressed powder, and I have to use a lot to get it on the thing. So I would literally blot all over. Oh, I have mascara smearage. I would blot all over my newly done makeup. And the other trick I did, and I didn't do it today because I forgot about it till just now, it like came to me while I was doing this. I used to put powder on my lipstick and then reapply it, and I would just dust it all away with my hands. Or sometimes, like I said, I would take my powder brush my mom gave me, and I would go across my eyes and my cheeks and everything. And if it was too powdery of a finish, which I don't know when I thought it was too powdery of a finish since I used so much powder, what made that level come about with me. But if it looked too powdery or too, I almost want to think the word grainy comes to mind, because I would just see, you know, texture and things. Then I would pat my hands on my face while they were damp, not soaking and dripping, but damp, and like kind of blend the powder in. So I think that that is one of the things that were kind of funny to me, knowing now what setting sprays do. So, well, I hope you enjoyed this video. We do have some other kind of comparisons or reviews, or, you know, I'm not a makeup artist. I probably won't be doing many of the challenges. This one struck me because it was a challenge to me to see if I could find the products I used 20 plus years ago, and it was also a challenge to me to see if I could actually stick to what I did back then, because it's so icky. It's just so much, and it's just so over the top. But I hope you lasted this entire video, and if you did, we appreciate you watching. Hopefully you'll come back and see what more we have to offer, and it would be great if you would subscribe and click like to this video, and we'll see you soon. Thank you for watching.